Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday. Okay, last week we did the ashibarai, the classic judo or jiu-jitsu foot sweep. This is a more kung fu version, but you will see it occasionally as an application, for example, the drop position in kusanku or the pull-away position in pinyangoran as a variation of those themes. And it involves full turning in kung fu or kempo or chunfa. We would call this the iron broom sweep. It's a more committed movement, and it's important to realize that I don't care whether it's a basic punch or a block or a knife hand or a front kick or whatever it is, every technique has a risk factor. But just like all risk factors, a high risk also gives you a high reward if it pays off. So it's one of those moves that used situationally and sparingly, I would say is not terrible, but it's definitely not a go-to move. It's like a trick play in football. If you perfect it and get better at it, you can run more trick plays. So the iron broom sweep, typically I'm going to start from a side horse stance position. I'm going to lift my heel and drop to my front foot. My back leg is going to come around like a bar all the way through my opponent, and then I come up. We can do the same thing in reverse. I still drop down to this front foot, and as I'm dropping, kind of corkscrewing down, my back leg, stiff, straight, comes around and through my opponent's legs. Now, bursitis in the hips, I don't do them as fast, so for me, at age 63, it's a much riskier move, and I may not necessarily go all the way down. I might just partly go down and sweep, but I lose my reach. So if I'm going this way and I don't go all the way down, my reach is not nearly as far, but you can still kick your leg all the way through. If I go all the way down, obviously I can reach out a great deal further than if I don't, okay? So the iron broom sweep, risky, more of a young man's game, but a very effective sweep combatively. So if I'm doing this, and I'm going to do it old man version to young man, if we're in a fighting stance and he's on this lead side, I want to try and, I probably wouldn't do it if his foot's pointed toward me. If his foot's turned more in, and I'm lined up on that heel, so it's more of a side horse stance or a side fighting stance. Now I could do it the other way, but again, it's a higher risk. If his foot's toward me, when I sweep, I'm going to go on the inside. So from here, I would do the reverse sweep as I come through. Okay? Or if I'm on the opposite leg, I would do the front sweep coming through this way. So for practice purposes, I'm going to let the young men show this. So let's go on an angle here. Side horse toward me on this angle. Scoot away a little bit. We're just going to do the solo. So as a single rotation practice, he's going to do a reverse iron broom sweep, 360 degrees. Aren't you?
Theoretically, yes.
Hey! And back up. Good. Now he's going to do a forward iron broom sweep, 360 degrees. Hey! Okay? And that's essentially it. So to practice this, because it's a high risk, if I'm right here and he went really hard at my front leg, front full sweep. Hey! Bam! That could really take me out hard. Now, for practice, I either have to, as I did, yield a little bit or be ready to practice my ukemi, my break falls. So scoot that way and go toward me some. Another way to practice, the solo version, stay there. The solo version is do a forward sweep, backward, forward, front, and then he shifts his weight back, and then shifts his weight and forward, and however far the dojo allows you to go. This way, he could really be chasing me. So let's go here. He sweeps. Boom! Oh, I moved. Oh, I moved. Oh, I moved. But it allows him to chase. And if he's good at it, or for the younger guys younger than me, you can really go after a guy with this iron broom concept, okay? It's a little more advanced, a little riskier. We practice it as he did in place, full circle, all the way around and back up, and then the other way, all the way around and back up. And when we practice continuous front, reverse. We could also, let's do one more version from here. So he's going to go front sweep, boom, and I step back. Now he's going to go front sweep again, boom, and I step back. Okay, stand up, and then I go front sweep, boom, and he goes back, and I go front sweep, boom, and he goes back. So we could practice that as a continuous stepping that way, or if we're on open stance, he could go reverse sweep, boom, and I step back, and reverse sweep, and he can hit me a little bit, and I'll just stop him in place. So that's a good way just to practice the position. If we practice that way, you practice stopping, which is why it's also important to practice the full circle so that you get used to going completely through with follow through to really take the guy off his feet. Okay? The iron broom sweep. High risk, high reward, more of an athletic move like jumping kicks, which as we get older, knees, backs, whatever, things change for the older guys. But if we're talking 10, 12, 20, 35, whatever age, what age does an athletic career end? Usually around 40. Guys, unless you're Tom Brady, guys quit playing football. Nolan Ryan, again, an anomaly. Most pitchers, their arms done by the time they're mid-30s or by 40. So after that, probably higher risk. But if you maintain your flexibility and want to practice it, it's a very high reward as well. Another version of Ashibarai, the iron broom sweep. And it's a good application to learn for Pinyan Goran, for Kusanku. So those positions, the jump, landing in Kusanku, could also lend into that sweep. Thanks for joining another Seidokan Saturday. Hopefully, if you feel like practicing that, it's an adjunct, it's an auxiliary movement. It's not one that I require of everybody, but the fundamentals of it, the concept of it are still good to learn regardless. Because even if I'm doing the Ashibarai, but I wanted to do a full kicking sweep, even if I don't go all the way down, by learning that concept, you can get a good hard sweep in Kumite. Thank you for joining. Like, share, subscribe. I just put up a web page, yay, orumseidokan.com. Feel free to visit and go to my Facebook link there if you have comments or suggestions as I build that page and add information there. Thank you for joining, as always. And until next week, let's keep practicing.